Well, meanwhile, several human rights organizations are calling for an independent international investigation into Khashoggi's death. Comes after the glaring inconsistencies that we've just been speaking about in the Saudis' explanation about what went on in that consulate. Well, I want to bring in Sherine Tadros. She's the head representative of the New York-based UN Office for Amnesty International. Good to have you with us, Sherine.
Thank you.
We know that Turkey obviously is pursuing its investigation. The Saudis have their own investigation underway, but there are strong calls from Amnesty as well for a UN investigation. Why is that necessary?
Well, let's look at where we're at. We have these two so-called investigations, one being led by Saudi Arabia into itself, which, as we've already been talking about, is completely inconsistent, at times incredulous. They seem to be sure that there are no links between what happened to Jamal Khashoggi and the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, but yet they don't know what happened to the body. And there are so many inconsistencies in the past 16, 17 days since this incident took place. They're also decided to fire and question loads of their officials, but they don't seem to have any concern for due process or explaining to us how these officials could possibly have done this without the knowledge of their superiors. And on the other hand, you have this Turkish investigation that is ongoing, that we keep seeing leaks of to the media, and nothing is clear. So it is highly politicized. It's very clear. It's really a no-brainer. We need a credible, transparent investigation. That is what is missing in this puzzle. That is what really officials around the world have been asking for. And that is why the Committee to Protect Journalists, Reporters Without Borders, Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International have joined forces to ask for. It's very simple. Turkey simply needs to write to the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who himself has talked about the need for a transparent probe, and ask for such an investigation to take place. It can happen very quickly if there is political will. What we need for countries to actually care about getting to the truth.
We have heard, obviously it's been weeks since Jamal went into that consulate and never came out. We've heard that the walls have been painted over, potentially new carpet laid. What sort of investigation could the United Nations do here? And is there anyone else that could request it besides Turkey?
Well, we need pressure from all member states, especially the United States, both on Turkey, but also on the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to actually start this investigation. And yes, you're right. We've had many days that have gone past, much time, if you like, for a cover-up. But at the end of the day, our best shot at trying to get to the bottom of this is for this investigation. And it will need the Turkish officials as well as Saudi officials to comply, as well as perhaps other states as well who may have intelligence information. But let's not make any mistake what this is about. It is not simply about, as tragic as it is, one journalist who walked into a consulate and was killed. This is about a war on freedom of expression and freedom of the press. And we all have a stake in this. I have a stake in it as a human rights defender. You have a stake in it as a journalist. But everyone watching who dares to dissent, everyone who writes a Facebook post criticizing their government or a policy or their leader, everyone has a stake in getting to the bottom of this. Because unless we have an investigation, we establish the facts and there is some justice, which means that those who perpetrated this crime are held to account, are put in prison, this will keep happening again and again.
You are absolutely right, Sherine, that there is a lot at stake. This is far more than the murder of one human being, as bad as that is. But so often we hear criticism of the United Nations being a toothless tiger. If they do find wrongdoing, if it goes all the way up to the Crown Prince or the King of Saudi Arabia, what action can be taken?
Yeah, you're absolutely right to be skeptical, because at the end of the day, Saudi Arabia has some very, very powerful allies, including, of course, the United States. We're talking about multi-billion-dollar arms deals that go between the United States and Saudi Arabia, the UK, France. These are all veto-wielding powers of the Security Council. And what we've seen over the course of the last 3 years since Saudi Arabia got involved in its war on Yemen is that these countries have consistently defended their ally, Saudi Arabia, and a major made sure that they are not punished in any way. So we do need this pressure right now. We do need to say, though, enough is enough. It wasn't enough on the 9th of August when a US-supplied bomb was dropped by a Saudi jet on a bus full of children, killing 26 of them as they went to school. We did nothing back then, but surely we can say enough is enough right now, so that I am not sitting here again in 3 months or in 6 months or a year talking about another tragic mess, because every time we let Saudi Arabia get away with this, we are enabling them.
You make some very good points there, Sherine Tadros from Amnesty International. Great to get your perspective. Thanks so much.
Sure.